roll call by chairperson. We are missing Tyler, our chairperson. Item number 2 is public comment. Seeing none, we will move on to item number 3, consent items. The council needs to review, approve, and sign the minutes from February 11, 2025, our regular meeting.
I move that we review, approve, and sign minutes from our regular meeting on February 11th, 2025.
Any second?
I'll second that.
Discussion? All those in favor? Review, approve, and sign the minutes from the February 12th special meeting.
I move to review, approve, and sign the minutes from our February 12th special meeting.
I'll second that. You got it?
Any discussion? All those in favor? And the last consent item is to review and approve and sign the 2025 treasurer warrants from 6Z up through 9P.
I move we review, approve, and sign the 2025 treasurer warrant 6P through 9P.
Discussion or question? All those in favor? Oh, I've already signed.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, it gets tight, doesn't it? All right, moving on. Item 4, new business, presentation by our town assessor, assessing and CEO discussion.
Good evening, Mr. Chair and members of the board. I'm Josh Perry with RCS Assessment Services. And I thought it was
a good time to come up and just introduce myself and give you a little bit of background information on our company. We had taken over the assessing duties here in town in January, so we're still kind of getting a feel for where things are at from when RJD left, where you are now. So we're at our state valuation audit today. Maine Revenue Service was here for a good chunk of today. Everything came out good for that, so that's always a good, it's basically a test of how the processes have been going in town, and everything looks like it's lined up well, so that's good to report that there's no real major changes that they're asking for. Wanted to introduce myself. We operate out of Bangor. Herman area is our location. I'm originally from Holden, and we have been expanding up to the county. We have now we're doing some projects in Allagash and New Limerick and Linneus, so we're looking to expand our footprint up here and do a lot more work up this way. My staff, we have 2 full-time staff at the office. You'll hear me say we a lot, and sometimes people ask me, well, who's we? But we do have full-time staff, looking to add more staff up in the county. I have a meeting tomorrow with a potential new hire, so hoping to do that. And we've also been looking at expanding, so I worked in Herman the last 8 years in various different roles, doing tax assessing and code enforcement, and we have seen a big need for code enforcement, especially up in Aroostook County. So that's kind of, I think I saw a posting online for a CEO here in Ashland, and I emailed Tammy and just said, hey, maybe we should talk, because I'm doing it for some other towns in the Penobscot County region. So it might just be a good benefit. It sounds like you may have some interest here in your code position, which is a good thing, so I'm not looking to get in anybody's way by any means, but it would be an option that we may be offering towns that we're doing the assessing work for. It really helps with workflow, permitting, inspections, and things of that nature. They're both pretty well tied together in that aspect. So really just wanted to introduce myself, and if there were any questions, anything I can discuss with you tonight, I'd be happy to.
Does council have any questions? I did wonder, when they did our audit today, is that where they decided we're within whatever percentage that our tax value is within the percentage that it needs to be for what houses are selling, or is that a different thing?
Well, it today kind of sets the stage for next year's percentage. So last year's audit, which we just received last week for almost all the towns in the state of Maine, so originally that's what I was gonna come here and talk to you tonight about, but I felt we haven't really had enough time to see what adjustments maybe we need to, or what I may recommend for you to do this year. The ratio has dropped this year. I wanna say it's right around the 79% mark. So what that means, and it looks like the town dropped down to 98 last year. So we had a reval a few years ago.
Yep.
You were able to certify it 100%. The sales are continuing to climb, so the ratio starts to fade a little bit.
That's the
You're at
downline.
98% last year, so you would have seen your homestead exemption drop a little bit. This year, without making any adjustments, it's gonna drop some more. So the town will have options to make market-based adjustments and try to get that homestead back up. And that homestead reimbursements for the town, tree growth reimbursements, revenue sharing, so it plays more than just the homestead exemption, but that's usually what people can relate to the easiest. So, I felt it was a little premature to get into that tonight, so.
Are you able to get a package together and email it over to us, so it can be reviewed as far as what we would be looking at for pricing if we did look to contract out the code enforcement?
Sure, yeah. yeah, we can do that.
That could be adjusted in doing that.
Yeah, then we have options.
Yeah, no, absolutely, I can do that.
Thank you.
You can see where it would make sense, because it's,
So,
you get your permit, then you know the taxes are gonna.
Yeah. The only thing that really prevents someone, and I've talked to the county a little bit, sounds like they have some grant money, to try to offer one person to, but it's, when you have planning board meetings, it kills that. So if you assess for 10 towns, you don't necessarily have a meeting every month. If you're a code officer in 10 towns, you might have 10 planning board meetings a month, and that's what makes it almost impossible for one person to do. You get your company going, if you have multiple people, like what we're looking to do, that can cover these different aspects, then it's more attainable, and long-term is more efficient for everybody.
Thank you, Josh. Next item is our town forester to discuss town stumpage for 2025. At one of our last meetings, we talked about the fact, Tyler had brought up, he wondered if it was even worth to harvest some wood, so.
Hi, I'm James Ryan. I'm a town forester. I work for Furnace and Carlisle, a management company that has management on town woodlot. And yeah, I guess I'm here to field any questions that there were about the budget, or I guess anything else that there were.
Well, I think if I remember I'm not an expert on wood at all, but if I remember what Tyler said, he was wondering if what we had for income from the wood made it worth to cut any this year, or if this was a year that we should just let it grow for a while.
Well, yeah, the markets are very poor, for anybody that's in tune with that. Past couple of years been pretty tough that way. I'm sure you saw that on your income from last year.
Mm-hmm.
And this year's not necessarily looking any better. Based on the budget's based on, you know, what the current markets are, what we're seeing for the future, which is, we're seeing that to be pretty flat. So, specifically, you know, the town woodlot, there's a lot of hardwood pulp that gets harvested off the town woodlot, and that's one of the lowest value products to sell at this point, and it's one of the worst markets, so that's kind of what's driving that number. As far as whether the town didn't want to harvest this year or not, we did have a harvest budgeted and planned for Q1, which is currently taking place.
Happening right now.
But that was about half of the town's annual allowable cut, which is 1,000 cords. We're planning on cutting 500 in Q1. And like I said, that harvest is active at this moment. But we could reassess Q2 after this is done, see where we're at, what we project, you know, for the rest of the year, and maybe hold off on that extra 500 cords. We could roll that into a future year, you know, whatever the town wanted to do as far as that goes. There are some other potential ramifications to not harvesting that wood and some of these other expenses. I don't know, if you guys have copies of the budget?
Probably not in this month's packet.
Or if there's questions about it, and, you know, you can either email me, I can leave this with you
Just
too.
copies of it?
I just have one.
I can go make you a copy if you want. I'll go grab a copy for us.
Was it in the minutes what Tyler had said?
It just says that Chairman doesn't think the town of Ashland should cut wood next year. He thinks they should let the wood grow. He doesn't feel like it's worth cutting for the money we get. The wood we have on the town land is not very marketable.
Which is what you said too. Are you saying, that there would be some expenses we would incur if we didn't cut that extra 500 cords?
There's some other activities that we're planning, road work and boundary line maintenance. The boundary line maintenance also has already been completed
Okay,
for the year.
yeah.
And that actually did come in under budget, but I'd have to take a second look and see where we're at as far as other expenses, you know, and how that would affect.
Like the road work.
Yeah, we haven't fully spent the budget for the year, but I don't know off the top of my head exactly what that number is. those are all factored in, taken out of your stumpage, is what kind of I'm getting at. There's some costs that are incurred whether you harvest that wood or not.
Would we be doing the roads even if we don't harvest the other
Well,
part?
that could be talked about, and discussed, whether we wanted to, put that money into the roads for future or not, or hold back on it. That's up to the town as far as that stuff would go.
I don't even know where to go to start on it. What's your recommendation for the town? What would you do if it was your land?
The town woodlot is, you know, P&C's managed it, I think, for 3 or 4, since 2021, early 2021. I'm not sure, we harvested any wood that year or not, but, in general, there's a lot of growing stock, I would say, on the town lot, and, there's a lot of future there, but, you know, because if that was on land on some of our other clients, or land that P&C own themselves, you know, we probably would, look to grow some of that wood. There's some other factors too that drive the allowable cut number to what it is, and, you know, the town's got a couple of pretty large parcels, and then there's a lot of smaller pieces here and there, and boundary lines are a mess on a lot of those small parcels. And a lot of those small parcels have some of the better wood, but if we don't have boundary lines, you know, we can't harvest that wood. And I've looked into some surveying, in the past, and it's just been cost prohibitive, for what we've seen at that point, and, you know, we're kind of trying to work where we can work and do the best we can with what we have. The markets aren't helping us out at all. The roads on the town too are, you know, in poor shape. We've been trying to put some money into the roads to get them to where we can operate on them. And also on the boundary line, I think we've completed almost 6 miles of boundary line maintenance, on town lots, and that includes some that, you know, weren't that bad that we could find pretty easily, and some that, you know, we put some legwork into to piecing them together and being able to make that work, so, yeah, that's kind of, I don't know if that answers your question, but.
Well, I think what I heard you say was if it was your land, you might wait a year.
I don't know if I should say that. I mean,
Well, I know,
it is
but,
what it is,
but
too, so.
well, I'd rather have you tell us,
Most of it's not a year, though, it's
Yeah.
a lot of years.
a lot of you.
Yeah.
And the thing, part of it too, is, you know, we work a harvest plan, we work the road work in incorporation with that, and we're always trying to look ahead and get things done ahead of time, and that saves you money in the long run by not trying to do work while you're right there, cutting wood on it. So we're always, you know, we're trying to get the town to where it's, you know, where it's in good shape, and where you have options, but there's not a lot of options for places to harvest wood, because there's no roads to work on. So that's kind of, hands are kind of tied as far as, you know, we can't move around and find species that have better markets, because we just can't access the timber. So, right now, the harvest we're conducting right now is in softwood, primarily softwood, which is, it's not a great market, but it is better. So, as you can kind of see that in the first quarter projection here, that the total income, projected from that first quarter harvest is almost double what the fourth quarter harvest, which would be primarily in a hardwood stand, is gonna produce.
Who's contracted out to cut it?
W.T. Gardner's cutting it right, the 500 towards this winter.
They're out of where?
Lincoln. They're advantageous for us right now because they own a hardwood chip plant in Holton, and
Market.
we have nowhere else to sell hardwood pulpwood right now. They're actually not even buying hardwood pulpwood off the street, but since they're cutting the wood, they're buying it. And they're actually, they kept the same price with us that they had this, you know, the rest of the winter when they were buying it. They didn't cut the price, so it maybe seems strange that somebody from Lincoln, but there's a little bit of a method.
Yeah. You wanna speak?
Yeah.
You'll have to check the chair.
It's better if we don't, so,
All right,
sorry.
there's just something, a simple question.
Sorry about that. it's better if we don't. So I look to you guys, do we want to move forward with this as they have it presented, or do we want to try to stop after the first quarter, knowing that at some point we're gonna have to take up the extra cost to do roads that we won't have been maintaining? I assume some of this expense in here in this quarter 2 and 3 is roads, or is that
Nope,
not?
the roads come right out of the stumpage sales at the top. So, there's 2 pages to this budget, and as long as we're all on the same page, they aren't a continuation of each other, they each stand alone.
Oh,
Okay, so the first page is a summary, basically, of the budget, and the second page is more of a breakdown,
there's roads.
and then breaks out some of the other items, just so you don't get confused that, we're taking money away twice on there.
And
but-
this is in addition to what we spent on roads last year, correct?
Yep, that's just,
This
that's
is just
2025.
2025.
Yep. Roadwork, we kind of, just to give you an idea how we come up with that number, it's based on specific projects that we have planned and what the cost estimate that I put to it is, but it's also, we kind of use $10 a cord as a guideline across all of our lands as a rule of thumb for roadwork, and that falls in line with that. $10,400 is the budget on 1,000 cord, allowable cut. Like I said, if the council would like, I can come back, even probably in April or an April meeting, June meeting. We could talk about where we landed. It should be pretty well wrapped up, and have some numbers for where we landed this winter. And
Get through the first quarter,
talk about that, and like I said, that harvest, the fourth quarter, that's planned for between October and December, so we'd have some time, to think that over, if that's what you'd like to do. It's not a problem for us, we can suspend all activities, once we wrap this harvest up, we suspend all our activities until, until we meet again and talk about that.
Will you have all your figures for the second Tuesday in April, or should we shoot for May?
May probably be better,
Yeah,
it'd be
May.
safer, we could take some time, even once, would be hauled to make it through an accounting system and spit out, and we'll see where you're at as far as, revenue and costs and volume.
so I would entertain a motion to table, make any decision on the stumpage until the May meeting. I would make it,
Well, I'll move it.
there you go, then move it, and then get a second. Any more discussion on that? I would just say thank you for your time and explaining this to us.
You're welcome, I do have one more thing,
Yep,
we've
then
been.
let's let the vote.
We've been meeting, we manage for, 4 municipalities total, and, we've been meeting with the rest of them too, because, the markets are bad and they're all noticing that in their budgets. And one thing, one of the other towns pointed out to us is we provide our budget in January normally, and we would like to have had it earlier. If that's something that Ashland would like as well, we're happy to do that. We try to do it late because we're normally negotiating, the next year's contracts in December. So we like to have that pricing in the budget, but if it works better for the town to have the budget in, they were asking for November, late December. If that's something that would work better for you, we can do that, just so you know. You don't have to decide on that right now, but, just let me know. We can do that for you.
All of those in favor of tabling the stumpage?
Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. Sure. All right. Approved tax anticipated note authorization, attestation for legal. That's in your binder. Get it out there. We need for somebody to read this. I believe this is our motion itself. We need to read it. Yep, so you need to read it into the record here.
Apparently I'm reading it.
If you don't mind.
Well, I can read. I move that the vote entitled, "Vote to Authorize $500,000 Tax Anticipation Note for Fiscal Year 2025" be adopted in form presented to this meeting. Vote to authorize $500,000 tax anticipation note for fiscal year 2025. That the town council of the town of Ashland hereby authorizes the town manager and deputy manager, acting singly, to accept the proposal of Katahdin Trust Company dated January 15th, 2025, to purchase the town's $500,000 tax anticipation note, and to award said note to Katahdin Trust Company, and any such prior action by the town manager or deputy manager is hereby ratified and confirmed. That under and pursuant to the provisions of sections 5771 of Title 30A of the Maine Revised Statutes, majority of the town council and the treasurer of the town be, and they are hereby authorized to borrow in anticipation of tax receipts from Katahdin Trust Company in the name of the town of Ashland at a sum of up to $500,000 at an interest rate not to exceed 6.47 per annum. And that a majority of the town council and the treasurer be, that they are hereby authorized to issue general obligation securities to the town of Ashland in a principal amount not to exceed $500,000, and to execute and deliver a note or notes attested by the town clerk in such form as the town council and treasurer may approve the note. Their approval to be evidenced by their execution thereof, and that the appropriate officials of the town be and hereby are authorized to execute and deliver on the behalf of the town such documents and certificates as may be required in connection with such borrowing, and that no part of the proceeds of the note shall be used with any manner that would cause a note to be an arbitrage bond or a private activity bond within the meaning of sections 148 and 141 of the Internal Revenue Code of 1986 as amended. The code, and that the note be designated as a qualified tax exemption obligation within the meaning of section 265B3 of the code, and that the treasurer and other appropriate officials of the town, acting singly, are authorized to covenant on behalf of the town to file any information report and pay any rebate due to the United States in connection with the issuance of the note, to take all other lawful actions necessary to ensure the interest of the note will be excludable from the gross income of the owners thereof for purposes of federal income taxation, and to refrain from taking any action which would cause interest on the note to become includable in the gross income of the owners thereof.
There we go, we need a second. Need a second. There we go.
I'm not reading it. I thought you said you wanted to give him a second.
No,
I'll recover.
sorry, you want to go? Any discussion over that motion? Good job, Chris. All those in favor? There we go, we'll send it down to Sue, so that's the only signature on
Mark does
it.
the same things and only one can read.
You did a good job. All right, old business, possible executive session or meeting to discuss personnel issues for Maine State Law Title 1 NRSA, Section 405-6A.
Do we have anything?
We do.
Then should we finish our manager report council items and
Sure.
put that at the end?
Let's do that.
I move we do that.
Okay, so we're moving to move the agenda forward. Second to move the agenda.
Seconded.
Good, any discussion on moving the agenda? All in favor of moving the manager stuff forward? There we go, manager first.
So the only thing that I figured I wasn't gonna bombard you, I'm officially only week 1 in, and I thought Kevin was gonna be here for today, so, the only pressing thing is the accounts. We just need to look at getting myself added to the account, along with Tammy. I know you're on there now, I don't know what you guys wanna decide, if you wanna leave somebody on council there, or just have the manager and the treasurer. But we would be looking at all the accounts with Katahdin Trust Company, and an account, with a Rustic Savings and Loan.
I'd be happy to be off there.
So we just need a motion for you guys for that, and we can do all the documentation. I will also group it along in with online banking.
I move that we add Alicia to all of the town checking and banking accounts and remove Ms. Calhoun from all checking and banking accounts.
There is, we would want to include the TAN, and the account at the Rustic Savings and Loan is technically a CD.
I I add those things as mentioned.
Did I get that right?
Is that all of it?
That's all,
A
yeah.
second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
I will say that, I've worked pretty closely with Tammy in the last week that we've been here, and she's been, or that I've been here, and she's been a huge help. There's a lot of stuff to go through, and so we're gonna be sorting through a lot of different things. So you'll see more next meeting, but for right now, we'll just get that out of the way, and we'll sort through the rest as it comes. But hopefully, lots of good changes to come.
And while people are here, we'll also do council items. Is that it?
Yep, I'm good.
Thank you, Alicia. And welcome aboard.
Thanks.
Dale, do you have
Yes, I
anything?
do.
Okay, good.
I'm just wondering where we're standing with the whole sidewalk issue. And what,
All I know about the sidewalk issue is, there were some concerns from some people in town, and, it was brought to the chairperson, and the chairperson worked with the town council, or with the highway department director, and had the corner of Main Street and, I think 227 Exchange, had that cleaned up. But I have not personally seen the contract that was awarded.
are we
For
allowed
the
to see,
sidewalk.
I'd like to, if we're allowed to see that, I'd like to
As
see
far
that
as I'm
contract.
concerned, you guys should have saw it when you
Right,
voted
yeah,
on it,
that's-
so that's
yeah.
definitely something that
Yeah.
should be done. Is that something you can pull quickly, Sammy?
Mm-hmm.
No.
But first, we-
I haven't seen it in the stack of folders that I was left, so.
for the,
I just have one page of it right now,
Okay.
and I can pull quickly,
Okay,
because they're supposed to get paid on this Thursday.
okay.
Oh,
oh.
So has this not been, this contract has not been paid at this point in time?
The second half has not been paid yet.
So is it a contract that's written so that if we have concerns with how the job has been done, that can be addressed?
I can't tell you this.
Okay,
We'll look at that contract tomorrow.
okay.
I will tell you that my husband has been doing the sidewalk between the school and Family Dollar, because he knows that the kids after school go to Family Dollar. And even though it's not part of the school lot, he has been doing it because it's our kids. And so that little bit right in front of the superintendent's house and in front of the school, Matt has been doing with the snow blower at school.
Do you guys know, was it the streets all the way around town? Because I've seen elderly people trying to walk along the streets just on my route. And I've made it a habit this week to drive around
So
town.
I've been watching
When
it
I come
too.
in and they're stumbling and it's a hazard.
But I,
It's supposed to be around the block is
yes, it
what
is.
I remember.
Yes, it is.
Both sides of Main Street, Exchange Street, Presque Isle Road, and Station Hill.
Both sides of each of those.
Both sides, well, no, just the sidewalk sides. Main Street's the only street with sidewalks on both
Yes,
sides.
yes. And the corner, I know like when you're pulling in from Main Street and you're at the four-way with Station Hill, that was pretty backed up there. You have to pull out into the intersection to be able to see
Right,
if there's
yeah.
anything coming.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that, obviously that should have been included too then.
Yeah, because I'd like to see what the contract says, just to see exactly, I mean, how,
Well, we can't enforce something that we don't know the terms.
right.
So it's, the terms are vague.
And I personally wouldn't say that the sidewalks have been cleaned.
Well, we've lost our sidewalks on Main Street, there aren't any.
Well, if you could continue on, Sherry, that would be nice.
I don't think
Telephone poles
we'll,
are on the
I don't think
sidewalk
we'll
and
approve
meters.
that, but we can't get
Kind of.
to Family
Well,
Dollar.
I saw water and sewer was cleaning out around the hydrants and
They
those
also did in
sections
front
are
of
clean.
chassis. It was water.
Water
sewer
and sewer did that?
Water,
Okay.
yeah, Dana did that.
So if we get the contract pulled out and email it to you guys
That sounds
tomorrow,
wonderful, yep.
you can review it from there, okay.
You need Chris's personal email.
Chris's personal email, and you as well, do you have a separate email as well, that's not your council email?
Yeah, I'll set that one up here, I have it, I'll give it to you
Okay.
after.
You don't want everybody in town emailing your personal email?
Anything else, Dale?
Nope, that's it for me.
Tom?
The only thing I have is, we have elections coming up,
Yes, we do.
and today is the first day I noticed when I've been signing the warrants for, they've actually had my name as Gerard Raymond. Sometimes it'd be Gerard Tom Raymond, Gerard T. Raymond. I just, when you put it in for me, if you could put it on Gerard Tom Raymond on the paper. That's what it's gonna-
Tom your middle name?
Yes,
It is your middle
It's my
name?
middle
Okay,
name.
if it's,
And it's just
if
today,
it's your
I'm not
legal name,
saying,
we can. If it's not,
no, yeah, it's,
we can't.
Gerard's my first name, but I grew up as Tom, because my dad was Gerard too,
Okay.
so. But I just noticed today that this is the first time since I've been on the board, they've actually just put Gerard Raymond consistently all through 'em, which I don't have a problem with that. I just, some people don't know me as Gerard, they
Right.
just know me as Tom.
Yep.
So, that's all I had.
Yeah, if it's your legal name, we can.
Yep.
If, say, Tom was a nickname,
No.
and it wasn't your legal, we couldn't.
No.
But if it's your legal name.
Yep. Thank you,
Okay.
but that's all I had.
Chris?
Good today, I said enough last meeting.
You're good. I don't have anything either. So I'm gonna move us back to the possible executive session, a possible executive meeting to discuss personnel issue for Maine State Law Title I MRSA, Section 405-6A.
We're looking for something.
Motion.
I move to go to executive session to discuss personnel issue for Maine State Law Title I MSRA, Section 405-6A.
Second? Second? All those in favor?